Φίλες και φίλοι, καλησπέρα. Γεια σας, να έχετε ένα υπέροχο απόγευμα. Να είστε όλοι καλά. Χρήστος Μαριέτης εδώ από το Social Media RM News, το δίκτυο Ελλήνων, το Θέσεις και το Φωνή Ελλήνων Θέσεις και παράλληλα στο κανάλι μας στο YouTube, στο Χρήστος Μαριέτης 1. Λήξανε και τα τεχνικά προβλήματα τα οποία είχαμε. Βέβαια, σαν πέρσι τέτοια εποχή, υπήρχε το ετήσιο φθινοπορεινό συνέδριο. Είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικό αυτό το οποίο θα δείτε σήμερα και αυτά που θα ακολουθήσουν αμέσως μετά από αυτό. Λοιπόν, είχαμε το ετήσιο φθινοπορεινό συνέδριο Ages 2024, το οποίο ήταν μια γιορτή όλων των φυσικών λύσεων. Και φέτος, στις 13 με 14 του Σεπτέμβρη, θα υπάρχει ένα καινούριο φοβερό συνέδριο, το οποίο θα αφήσει εποχή, γιατί είναι εδώ αυτοί οι 4 υπέροχοι γιατροί για να δώσουν τρομακτικά αποτελέσματα. Σήμερα θα δείτε κάτι με τον Dr. Ardis, πάρα πολύ σύντομο. Κάναμε παρέα τότε με τον Dr. Ardis και έχουμε ξεκινήσει και το σχολείο το οποίο περνάει και κάνει για όλο τον κόσμο, με τον Dr. Group, τον Dr. Riley και την Dr. Smith. Από πέρσι λοιπόν το Σεπτέμβρη στο πρώτο Healing for the Ages Fall Conference και μάθαμε πάρα πολλά. Γελάσαμε με τους τόνους παράλληλα, γιατί ήταν ένα ευχάριστο γεγονός. Οι πληροφορίες ήταν καταπληκτικές, η εμπειρία είναι τόσο αξέχαστη και το κάνουν ξανά αυτό το Σεπτέμβριο. Καλά νέα λοιπόν η φετινή χρονιά και όπως φαίνεται θα είναι αρκετά καλύτερη. Στο ετήσιο φθινοπορεινό συνέδριο, αυτό το 4 που λέμε των φυσιοπαθητικών γιατρών μας έδειξαν πώς να αποτρέψουμε τα βιολογικά όπλα να εισχωρήσουν στο σώμα μας. Παράλληλα μας έδειξαν πώς να εξουδετερώσουμε τα βιολογικά όπλα με ηλεκτρομαγνητικά κύματα, τα οποία συνδέονται με την υπέροχη θεραπευτική δύναμη της μητέρας γης. Τώρα, αυτό το χρόνο, το 2024, αυτοί οι φανταστικοί 4 είναι ξανά σε αυτό και αυτή τη φορά με λίγη βοήθεια από τους φίλους τους. Έχουν πολύ συγκεκριμένους ειδικούς καλεσμένους, τους οποίους θα τους δούμε όλοι, συμπεριλαμβανομένου του ερευνητή δημοσιογράφου και ερευνητή φυσικής υγείας Τζόναθαν Νότο. Ο άνθρωπος με μια τρομακτική και θα έλεγα τρομερή σοφία στη φυσική ιατρική, ο Dr. Robert Scott Bell, και ο αληθινός ιατρικός επαναστάτης για την αλήθεια, που είναι η Dr. Lee Merritt. Πολλοί από εσάς τη γνωρίζετε. Από τα δίκτυά μας έχουμε γυρίσει πάρα πολλά πράγματα. Την έχουμε ακούσει να μιλάει για το διοξείδιο του χλωρίδου, θα την ξανακούσουμε με λύσεις πάνω σε αυτό. Και η γυναίκα που ανέλαβε το κακό και στέκεται ακόμα στο ύψος της, η Dr. Judy Mikovits. Λοιπόν, μέσα σε όλα αυτά, ένα άτομο και μάλιστα συγκεκριμένα μέσα από τα δίκτυά μας λαμβάνει, και εμείς οι ίδιοι λαμβάνουμε καθημερινά αναφορές από επιστήμονες και γιατρούς που αναδεικνύουν μια ανησυχητική αύξηση των αυτοάνοσων νοσημάτων, των επιθετικών καρκίνων και των ψυχιατρικών διαταραχών, οι οποίες επιδεινώνονται από ένα καταπιεσμένο ανοσοποιητικό σύστημα που επηρεάζεται από το χρόνιο φόβο, το άγχος, τη ζάχαρη και την κατανάλωση αλκοόλ. Ο Dr. Ardis, ο οποίος θα ακούσετε αμέσως τώρα σε ένα μικρό βίντεο, επικρίνει την εμπιστοσύνη της κοινωνίας στις φαρμακευτικές λύσεις και ενθαρρύνει τη στροφή προς φυσικές θεραπείες, υπογραμμίζοντας την έμφυτη ικανότητα του σώματος να μπορεί να αυτοθεραπεύεται. Εκφράζουν απογοήτευση που παρά τις γνωστές παρενέργειες οι άνθρωποι συνεχίζουν να χρησιμοποιούν και να εμπιστεύονται τα φαρμακευτικά προϊόντα, διερωτώμενοι γιατί οι εναλλακτικές λύσεις δεν αγκαλιάζονται περισσότερο. Ο Dr. Ardis τονίζει τη σημασία του χαλκού και του ψευδαργύρου για τη λειτουργία του νοσοποιητικού συστήματος και πώς η έλλειψή τους μπορεί να μιμηθεί πολλά συμπτώματα τα οποία αποδίδονται σε άλλες αιτίες, προτείνοντας πιο φυσικές προσεγγίσεις σε θέματα υγείας. Υποστηρίζουν βέβαια περισσότερη έρευνα σχετικά με αυτά τα φυσικά αντίδοτα, μοιράζοντας ευρήματα που ευθυγραμμίζουν τα μακροχρόνια συμπτώματα COVID με την έκθεση σε δηλητήριο. Ένα επερχόμενο συνέδριο, το οποίο αυτό που θα γίνει τώρα, 13 και 14, το οποίο έχει σαν στόχο να παρουσιάσει αυτά τα ερευνητικά τεκμηριωμένα ευρήματα, τα οποία θα παρακολουθήσουμε και μαζί, επιδεικνύοντας πρακτικά βήματα για φυσική θεραπεία και υποστήριξη του ανοσοποιητικού συστήματος. Τελικά ο Dr. Ardis απευθύνει έκκληση για μεγαλύτερη ενότητα και εμπιστοσύνη στις θεόσταλτες φυσικές λύσεις, υποσχόμενος ένα μείγμα επιστημονικής έρευνας και κοινοτικής υποστήριξης στην αντιμετώπιση των προκλήσεων υγείας. Είναι πάρα πολλά αυτά Πάρα πολύ ωραία αυτά που πρόκειται να ακούσετε, γι' αυτό μείνετε μαζί μας για περίπου κάτι λιγότερο από μισή ώρα. Να έχετε μια καλή ακρόαση και στο αμέσως επόμενο βίντεο θα έχουμε πάρα πολύ σημαντικά πράγματα τα οποία δεν πρέπει να τα χάσει κανείς. Λοιπόν, καλή ακρόαση.
I read articles. I have things sent to me every day by scientists and doctors all around the world that they see increased amounts of autoimmune disease being diagnosed, monstrous amounts of glioblastoma cancers. I get these every day. That glioblastoma has now been diagnosed again, a brain tumor in the brainstem of patients. And it's turbo cancers, right? Everything's turbo, everything's faster. It's been an outright atrocity to watch the amount of people around the world that are being negatively affected with their health in the last 5 years. And yes, it has been accelerated. And there's many, many vectors, many, many ways in which they're creating these outcomes physically in human beings. And you cannot overlook the emotional and the fear, anxiety porn that's been literally dumped on us 24/7 from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. And this creates a scenario of a suppressed immune system. And it doesn't matter what's inside of you. Everything becomes accelerated if your immune system is depressed and suppressed. And I'll speak it here. If you don't understand the impact of your own body's immune system to the impact of emotional burden, anxiety, panic, and fear, if you don't have a perspective around that, you really can't understand why so many people are being so affected by so many different problems in health. Cancers, autoimmune diseases, heart disease, you name it, antidepressant or depression issues, psychiatric disorders like schizophrenia, bipolarism. All of these are on rampant, elevated diagnoses right now. Never before seen. It's all over. It's all encompassing. So yes, it's been massive, but your own immune system is suppressed and turned down by emotional upset and burden, fear, anxiety, panic. It's also suppressed by sugar and alcohol that you consume, and which has been thrown in your face 24/7, and you're being programmed to trust and love more than anything else, to eat and to consume, period. I'm outright disgusted at how many Hollywood production, TV shows, sitcoms. It is literally like every 2.5 minutes they show whiskey, they show alcohol, and they want you to always be wanting alcohol, always. And every commercial for children's food and breakfast is what? Cereal. And what do they say? They actually say Frosted Flakes is a part of this balanced meal or breakfast, or they say Fruit Loops is a part of this balanced breakfast. I mean, you got to keep shoving this crap down your throat, and you're going to suppress the immune system. Refined sugar suppresses your immune system. It is identical to what corticosteroids do. You take prednisone, anybody living with an autoimmune disorder of any kind, and you've been diagnosed with your rheumatologist with some kind of autoimmune inflammatory condition, they're going to put you on prednisone for the rest of your life, and they're going to blame it on your genetics, by the way. So they're going to put you on this prednisone. Did they also tell you that this drug, prednisone, corticosteroids, all of them, are specifically immune suppressants? Meaning every time you swallow it or inject it, it turns off your immune system. Let's just say someone had parasites in their body or bacteria or yeast in their body, and you ate sugar. We're opening your mind and eyes and ears to anxiety and panic in the media 24/7. And that suppresses your immune system. You're eating sugar, alcohol, that suppresses your immune system. What would happen to that person if there was an extended period of time where they are always anxious, always in fight or flight mode, always eating sugar and drinking alcohol every day? What would happen in their body with those infections? Would those infections spread to create more problems, or would they disappear and the immune system kill them off? It's definitely going to linger longer and progress throughout your entire body. It's going to spread throughout your body. You're going to get every single symptom you can think of as a result of that infection spreading. This is why you're seeing so much turbo everything, just so you know, is an impact multiple vectors of anxiety, panic, EMF radiation that we've talked about at the Healing for the Ages, venom peptides we're talking about here. You want to talk about the state of affairs? Let's talk about America. You ready? There's a company called Novo Nordisk out of Denmark. And for everybody who's right now hesitating to subject themselves to flu vaccines, childhood vaccines in their children, COVID-19 boosters, you see all that hesitancy here in America. You know what's amazing? More people are injecting themselves voluntarily every week than ever before in history in America. They are literally taking the same drug manufacturers' shots, and they are injecting it into their body every week, all by themselves. No one's even making them do it or telling them they have to. And these drugs are called Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, Trulicity. They're called Majorna. I mean, these are all weight loss and diabetes injections every week made by the same manufacturers of drugs that make the other vaccines people are resistant to. Imagine the shock to learn here that it's not thyroid cancers that these Gila monster venom-laced drugs are creating in oncologists who are seeing people injecting themselves with these drugs each week for weight loss and diabetes. It's actually massive amounts. 100% of the cancers these people develop within 1 year of starting those drugs is breast cancers, not thyroid cancers. And they're reporting this to me that I have to start making people aware. It's not just the black box warning that this venom causes thyroid cancer. All we see, no thyroid cancers, all we're seeing in these people with these drugs that they're injecting themselves is breast cancers. Well, many other cancers are going to form too, just so you know. I have a problem with this because America is buying these drugs and having them prescribed to Americans more than any other country on earth. And the company Novo Nordisk, I just read this week, you guys, was just handed 10,000 lawsuits by people who have used Ozempic and Wegovy and have now either died, had brain cancers, had thyroid cancers, breast cancers, paralyzed stomachs. You want to know what the state of affairs? Stop ingesting and injecting on your own poisons made by pharmacia. Just so you know, stop. If it's flu vaccines or one thing you're avoiding, why are you not avoiding and questioning all the other drugs those drug companies make? I mean, all drugs come with a list of side effects you're going to hear on radio, TV, commercials. You're going to read in print and publications. When you go to your pharmacy, your pharmacist is going to hand you a whole piece of paper that has every known damaging side effect of that poison. Every drug comes with them. There's none that don't have these. Why would anybody think that a shot called a vaccine or an injection, GLP-1 drug for weight loss or insulin, why would you trust all of these drug makers that they're making 100% safe and effective vaccines and injections when in fact everything they've ever produced in history has a known detrimental side effect? They call those side effects. Why do you blindly believe them all to be completely 100% safe and effective? Only to find out within a very short period of time, lawsuits from people who have been injured by these things come piling back on for you to just watch in TV, radio, and read in the media. I don't understand. Why do so many medical professionals who have been so helpful for the last 4 years in articulating distrust for the medical complex and drug industry, why is still their number one recommended products to everybody during COVID, post-COVID, and eons into the future, even when we talk about cancer? Why are they still promoting pharmaceutical drugs like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine? When are you ever going to start questioning all pharmaceutical drug companies? When are you going to start questioning Merck? I mean, the actual vice president and presidents of Merck don't vaccinate their own children with the Merck-made childhood vaccines. And they've openly stated this. Why do you keep trusting these companies? I don't understand. Like, why the love affair with pharmacia? Why not the love affair with nature? I don't understand. Ivermectin was made from nature. Now it's synthetically manufactured. Why don't you just go eat nature where it was found? I mean, aspirin is found in nature. Why do you need bare aspirin in a bottle when you can go get it out of plants? It's just so weird. I'm like, why do you trust the drug companies? Why? Why? Nancy Reagan said, say no to drugs, damn it. She didn't say which ones. She said all of them. She just did a blanket sweep, say no to drugs. Well, how do you define drugs? I don't know. How do you define it? Everything but a vaccine made by a drug company? I mean, I don't get it. What do you call it? Say no to drugs. The two drugs Dr. Ely was just highlighting out of this McCullough presentation are actually owned by a company called Amgen. They own the patents on it. AMGEN. Guess where their largest manufacturing site is? It's in Puerto Rico. They make these drugs. Peter McCullough is highlighting here. Once people show you who they are, you should take them for face value. They already showed you who they were. You don't expect them to change. And I want to read something about Amgen. Ready? Watch this. This is exciting. What else do you want to know about Amgen? Okay, this company, two drugs now being showcased by our loving and comrade Peter McCullough. All right, here we go. In 2013, this is not a joke, Amgen was actually sued, and Amgen settled out of court. Biotech giant Amgen pleaded guilty in federal court in 2013 to improper marketing of its anemia drug, Aranesp, and has agreed to pay out $762 million in criminal fines and civil settlements to resolve the complaints from within the company's own whistleblowers. Now, what Amgen did, this company that is now being touted as life-saving drug manufacturer for to stop mRNA generation after you get your COVID-19 vaccines, it's published, and they were sued and found guilty, and they settled for almost $1 billion just 10 years ago for sending extra of their drugs, and all the drugs are for treating post-chemo patients who now have acute kidney failure and anemia from the chemo. These drugs, they were sending extras to the medical doctors and teaching them and telling them in secret how to overbill Medicare and Medicaid for these extra drugs. And that's what they got busted for. So incentivizing, it was all a grand money scheme. This is what these drug companies are infamous for. But I want y'all to know the two drugs are called monoclonal antibodies, both of them end with MAB. This is very important. They are telling you, per this great cardiologist, Dr. Peter McCullough, there's two monoclonal antibody drugs that can actually help you cure your problem with mRNA injections. The mRNA injections for COVID are designed to make your body manufacture spike proteins, spike glycoproteins, whatever you want to call them. Your body's designed to make them. What were the spike proteins of COVID in 3 different countries by 3 different scientists? What did they publish the spike proteins were identical to? Snake venom proteins. All right, now if they're identical to snake venom proteins, what does this have to do with monoclonal antibodies that are being touted now by Dr. Peter McCullough once again? Monoclonal antibodies, 90% of them all over the world, is what they use in emergency rooms to treat snakebite victims. So, if they're now touting another monoclonal antibody being successful to actually stop the mRNA from being generated in your body, remember, they're designed supposedly to create spike proteins that were identical to little short pieces of proteins of venoms from snakes. Of course, monoclonal antibodies would work. They're used as anti-venom. When you go to a hospital for a snake bite, that's what they're injecting inside of you. If you're in America, most of those ERs are injecting multiple monoclonal antibodies. They call them polyantibodies, polyclonal antibodies. There's 3 or 4 of them in there because they don't know what snake you were bit by. So they're going to pick coral snake venom, rattlesnake venom, and I don't know, we'll pick another snake. The rattlesnake. They're going to pick all 3 and just inject you with all of them. Just so you know, the whole reason why monoclonal antibodies were banned during COVID is because they worked 100% of the time against COVID because they were using a type of anti-venom called monoclonal antibodies that destroys venom proteins. I don't know how to make this more obvious for you. I don't know why they don't want to go look at this, but once you notice and recognize it as monoclonal antibodies, the FDA attacked and punished medical doctors for using during COVID and wiped it out and didn't allow it, even though it worked 100% of the time. Ask Dr. Richard Bartlett. He saved 1,000 people's lives every month using monoclonal antibodies, only to have it taken away from him by the FDA. And they took it away in Puerto Rico, by the way, which is the site they make it in. Amazing, right? All right. So now they're going to come back and circle around and go, oh, there's 2 you haven't heard of. Don't y'all remember Regeneron? Regeneron cured everybody they gave it to for COVID. It's a monoclonal antibody. Regeneron was a monoclonal antibody in the remdesivir study with Ebola in 2019, and it was the most successful drug in the trial. What did Anthony Fauci pick from his funded trial? We're going to take remdesivir that killed more people than the actual Ebola did. We're going to choose that one over Regeneron. It was only a comparison of remdesivir against 3 different monoclonal antibodies. It is just so obvious. I don't understand why it is you want to keep looking at drug manufacturers to make a solution when we already know nature provides the solutions. Just so you know, I had to summarize that. What else does the human body do when venom is introduced into your body? The body doesn't make chlorine dioxide. You know what the body makes in every cell of your human body? If venom, you get bit by a rattlesnake, stung by a scorpion, bit by an ant, the venom will go circulating in your blood. And when it hits any cell, guess what the cell releases to destroy the venom protein structure so it doesn't hurt it anymore? Hydrogen peroxide. Now, chlorine dioxide is great, but I'm just telling you, your body already knows how to make something that's not even an antibody. It just makes a chemical from water. It makes It makes a substance that totally destroys venom, and they publish this. What else does it? Ozone does it. It's just adding extra oxygen to the body. Oxygen can help destroy venom proteins, and that's what's extra about hydrogen peroxide other than water. Well, what is it that is keeping people from producing their own amount of hydrogen peroxide to prevent all the worst outcomes of long COVID, post-COVID vaccine injury? I'm going to tell you right now, there's one thing you're all low on that is required for every cell to make hydrogen peroxide. And the mitochondria in your cell are responsible for making this stuff. And it is copper. Copper is what every mitochondria needs to be able to manufacture hydrogen peroxide and spit it out of the cell, killing the venom circulating in the body or your spike glycoproteins. So you need to be supplementing copper. You also need to be drinking water. You need to be breathing air. So get outside and breathe some air. You need oxygen with the water to be combined in the cell to make hydrogen peroxide. And hydrogen peroxide is published to do it. So these are just some very basic things you do. And what is the number two, for 1 and 2 minerals that venom kicks out of a cell so it can go inside and infect the cell? Copper and zinc. Now you take copper out of the cell. Now you can't make ATP. Now you're going to be tired. You can't make hydrogen peroxide. Now you're going to get sick, and you can't beat bacteria, fungus, virus, parasites, venoms. You're going to have production less hydrogen peroxide. You're going to have less energy also. So now your immune system's suppressed, which is why with COVID, zinc was so effective. Everybody was being depleted by zinc with these spike glycoproteins they were introduced to. This is what venom does. It destroys cells by depleting zinc and copper, period. So you had to put the zinc in. We just didn't realize as much about the copper initially, or else we'd have been all hammering on that one too in the very beginning, like Morley Robbins was from the very beginning. And so when I came out with the venom stuff, he's like, oh my God, I've been talking for 2 years now about everybody needs to be on copper, not zinc specifically, more copper than zinc. And once he realized that when I brought out the venom aspect of COVID, he goes, oh my God, I looked it up. The number one mineral all cells are depleted of in the presence of venom is copper. And then he goes into all the copper requirements of the body. Did you know copper is required to make insulin? Did you know copper is required to make insulin work? How many diabetics are you seeing now that are insulin resistant? New as a result of COVID. It is actually one of the top 21 identified and published long hauler COVID symptoms is new onset of type 2 diabetes, which is insulin resistance. Well, if you destroy copper, your insulin no longer behaves to break down sugar. So you now appear like you're insulin resistant. You're making insulin, but it ain't breaking down blood sugar. Insulin requires an enzyme that is activated by copper. You destroy all the copper reserves out of the soil and out of your food and out of your body, you are going to be risking high blood sugar, diabetes diagnosis, chronic fatigue syndrome that's going to look like Epstein-Barr virus, and you don't have that. You've got chronic fatigue, and this can all be correlated to a copper deficiency, zinc deficiency, hydrogen peroxide deficiency. But chlorine dioxide absolutely works. These are just some of those things that we've found, and I'm very appreciable to all those that actually provide it. I have to say, we do a lot of research, and we love doing research. We're just wired that way, and we love solving riddles, health riddles. There's always a root cause. The only group of people that don't actually look for root causes are medical professionals. They actually don't give a crap about looking for the root cause. They only care to drug you and turn off your symptoms, and it's weird. It's weird to those who actually know there's an underlying cause for everything on earth. Don't you remember the old cause and effect rationale you learned in elementary school? For every effect, there is a cause. Well, except for in everything mainstream medicine. There is no known cause. And even when they landed on one that they decided to vomit on you 24/7, they decided to blame your mom and dad on everything so that you have no idea that there actually is something different that actually caused you to all of a sudden have a symptom. It had nothing to do with your parents' genetics. It had everything to do with you being poisoned, being weakened by a poison or something. Or a trauma or emotional upset. There's always a root cause. And unfortunately, the medical profession just isn't that group. So we're very excited about that. We love looking for root causes, then applying that information and seeing in the real world, does it work? Oh my God, the nicotine patches. I can't tell you how many people walk up to my wife and go, oh my God, this is you? You're Jane? As soon as they see her, and I introduce her and they grab her. Thousands of people have done this around the world. Do you know, Jane, how many thousands of people's lives you have saved around the world? And she'll go like this. Me? I'm never even talking or being seen on camera. No, I don't know. And she'll go, what do you mean I've saved lives? And they all say, if it wasn't for you doubting and questioning nicotine recommendations from your husband, only to 3 months later try it, and then in 3 days have all your long hauler COVID symptoms disappear in 3 days, none of us would have tried it. Oh my God, here's a clinical example of something I was researching, was trying to get my wife to do for 3 months. She didn't want to do until she heard some medical doctor in Australia reversed her deafness, her 100% loss of hearing in her ear since COVID. She's relating this to a podcaster I'm with in a live interview. That's what got her to go buy nicotine patches. This lady reported her hearing was restored in 45 minutes of the first nicotine gum she chewed, but had no hearing for a whole year. A medical professional. A whole year, and was told it was permanent hearing loss for life, only to have it restored in 30 minutes. Okay, great. 45 minutes. This is what got my wife to go try it. And oh my God, it's been amazing to watch thousands of people recover. I will tell you, anybody out there who's wondering, I tried nicotine for 7 days. It didn't work. Just so you know. The final 2 chapters of a book I'm writing right now that will be coming out at the Healing for the Ages conference explains exactly why it's not working for you. Did you know that not only did they find there were 2 neurotoxic venoms representing spike glycoproteins to cause COVID that target nicotine receptors, did you know there's a total of 36 different venom peptides that were found in every COVID-19 patient's body? And not all of them target nicotine receptors. I am going to show you at the Healing for the Ages conference every cause of every single long hauler COVID symptom. And just so you know, it is so certain, I'm publishing it in a book. All the answers, the antidotes, and the reasons. You're about to see it all laid out at both the Healing for the Ages conference and in this book coming out here. I can explain 100% of all of the right now published by the CDC long hauler COVID symptoms in a document they just released. And I take the audiences in the book through every single one of them, and 100, not 99%, 100% of them I lay out in the book are 100% published side effects of snake venom in a human. Not 99, not 90, 98, not 97. 100% of the CDC's published long hauler COVID symptoms are also published snake venom long-term side effects. It's the only thing in the entire scientific world that explains all of your symptoms. And I'm about to lay it out for all of you. I've already written it all out. Just wait. It's going to be very exciting. I'm going to be presenting all of this for all of you wondering where healing's going to come for you possibly when you've tried everything so far. We're not done with our research. Just wait till you see what we show you. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be more antidotes, more solutions to possibly celebrate that you can attempt to try, and medical professionals also consider for your patients when nothing else has worked. No one is diving into this research as much as this team. And you, Otto, thank you for all your help. This Healing for the Ages conference is going to be providing stuff you have never heard before, never seen before. The stuff I'm about to present on these 2 chapters I just completed, no one's ever seen. Now, you haven't seen it, Dr. Jonathan Otto. You haven't seen it, Dr. Ely, Dr. Schmidt. Dr. Group hasn't even seen it. We're about to lay out, for an example, 2 days of stuff you've never even heard of or considered as possible solutions to your suffering. 100% of it correlates to that. Oh, did you know this? This is freaking crazy. I just learned this morning, in order to diagnose a human being with lupus, did you know there's 2 tests that are run by the medical profession? One's called ECARIN, prothrombin activator test, and the other one is called snake venom coagulation 5 test that diagnoses you to have lupus. Why are there 2 snake venom tests confirming for medical doctors that you have an autoimmune disease called lupus? I wrote it in the book. What are your thoughts about the fact that it takes 2 assay tests to confirm the presence of blood clotting factors created by snake venom to diagnose a lupus patient of an autoimmune disease? If you got joint pain, rashes, butterfly rash, your medical doctor is going to run 2 tests looking for snake venom clotting factors in your blood. Come on, people. Wake up. I mean, they're telling you what it is, and it's so funny the medical professionals don't put this together yet. One's even called VICC. Dr. Henry Lee, you know about this one. Venom-induced coagulation factor. Okay, VICC. MDs, just look up what that stands for. Even if the hospital, if it flags you on your electronic records, hey, do a VICC test, why don't you just look up what the name of that acronym is? They're telling you to confirm, using venom, is there clotting occurring in the body? Okay, people, to diagnose lupus? Come on, people, this is way bigger than you realize. Oh, what was another side effect of the COVID-19 vaccines? Autoimmune diseases. You're making spike proteins that are identical to venoms? Oh, wait, they use venom to diagnose lupus? Come on, people. I don't know how to summarize this better for you. This is the crap you're going to learn at the Healing for the Ages conference. And I say crap because no one else wants to look at it. So we're going to show you because it's so obvious. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah, so Healing for the Ages is going to be September 13th and 14th, our next in-person conference, and it's in Dallas, Texas, and we would love to invite you to come. We've actually almost doubled the amount of seats we had in our first one, and so many people wanted to attend, and we didn't know what it was going to be like to do 300 in-person people. Now we've increased it to 500 seats for this one, and we're already halfway sold out, and we haven't even started our affiliate programs to start, really making sure everybody had access to the fact that it is available. The tickets are for sale, and we are very excited to have all you here. Of course, there's going to be plenty of people, and we expect more people to be online and doing it digitally with us and joining us that way. But what you can expect out of this conference is not only are the four of us going to be presenting over 2 days, different aspects around root causes of scenarios, what we're finding through research, what we've invested in, and what we can show you is occurring in the blood of the vaccinated, unvaccinated. We're going to physically show you. There is no, let's just hypothetical and theoretically throw out some ideas. No, we're going to show you exactly what's happening. And we've invested a lot of time, energy, and are working with a lot of researchers to help us back all this up because we want to know for sure what's going on that's a threat to ourselves and our families. And then we're going to go tell you. So there's a lot of things that we can surmise may be going on, but we want to be able to be confidently telling you and showing you what we know is absolutely what's going on. And then what are the possible antidotes and the probable antidotes, and what are we seeing clinically that are working. So that's what you're going to expect there. The four of us are going to do presentations over 2 days. We're also excited to announce that Dr. Robert Scott Bell is going to be there presenting. Dr. Judy Mikovits is going to be presenting. And so is, who's the other one? Dr. Lee Merritt, one of my favorite on earth to listen to ever. We're excited to have a PhD in virology and immunology. Excited to have a medical doctor on staff, and also have Dr. Robert Scott Bell, a homeopath, join us to educate the audiences what is really going on in the world surrounding the potential of natural health and healing, and reinforcing how incredible the human body's immune system was God initially gave us. It is not inapt. It is perfectly equipped to handle everything that has been thrown at us. Can you believe still they tried to poison the whole world with some crazy bioweapon and then injected 5 billion of God's children on earth with this bioweapon, and 99% of everybody still lived? This should be a testament to the mighty, incredible human God-created self-detoxifying, self-healing mechanism called the human body. And we want to create, and we did create, this foundation called Healing for the Ages, which is a place where like-minded individuals can come join us and celebrate the beauty of what God created through what he's provided in nature as antidotes to support our healing efforts. And then also hugs, loves, laughter. That's what we always are intentionally trying to create and provide. And that is exactly what was reported back to us by everybody who attended virtually and in person last year. And we are so thrilled to have these individuals come join us. And there's going to be a first ever Lifetime Achievement Award coming from this Healing for the Ages team. And there's going to be a VIP plus dinner on Friday night. And we have a very special guest coming that we're not telling you who it is, but you're going to want to be there for this. They have agreed to come. They're going to receive it, and they don't come to very many events. Y'all are going to be so excited to see who this special guest is that we're going to award. And we look forward to giving out one award like this every year moving on into the future to individuals that in our minds have gone beyond the call to help individuals navigate their own health journeys, regardless of their vocations, and their skill sets. So anyway, we're very excited about that. That's just some of the things you're going to experience at Healing for the Ages. It was really exciting to watch all the MDs that we invited to come and attend the actual conference. And I wanted them to learn some of the natural principles, start building their own faith in nature and medicine and what we've accomplished in our careers and up to that point. And we're going to showcase those stories, real life stories, throughout the entire conference. And then we're going to actually be showing everybody what can be done and what's the possibility of the human body's potential in healing, which is going to be exciting. What was most exciting to me was in the first 4 hours of the conference on Saturday, on the first one, or sorry, on Friday of the very first conference last September. Every MD walked up to me who we invited and said, "This has been the greatest conference I have ever attended. Medical, health, it doesn't matter. This is the greatest conference I've ever attended." It is obvious, Dr. Artist, that you guys have intended to create an environment of love and laughter. I've never heard so much love, hugging, seen so much hugging, grabbing each other and holding on to each other, putting your arms around each other and just celebrating life, and then tons of laughter the way that this entire event is experiencing. And they were very, very humbled and very gracious in their compliments. And I was very excited because that was the very first thing I said to everybody that was coming to speak there, that is a part of the Aegis team, was I wanted there to be love, I wanted there to be laughter, and I want there to be obvious unity between all of us. Like, so obvious that all of us are congratulating each other, supportive of each other's presentations, admiring each other's work and research, and none of us put each other down, and we're all there to support each other and love each other, even if we don't agree on everything. So the goal is just to show that we can be united, and we're trying to create a united front in faith in humanity and all of God's children. There's a bunch of us that are being preyed on, Preyd, and we're trying to make sure that you know where you can stay safe. And hopefully we are bringing such value to people's lives that they eventually can trust the messages that we are actually presenting. So that's the ultimate faith moving forward.